Welcome back to Knossos TV. Today I'm going to talk about and show pictures and videos of a very beautiful temple called Knossos Temple in Crete, Greece. I have already posted many videos from Crete, different museums, and also Cretan knives, and also some sceneries of this beautiful island. Cretan culture, Greek culture, and I'm going now to show you Knossos Temple, which is one of the most historical sites in Crete and Greece. The Temple of Knossos, or more accurately, better, referred to as the Palace of Knossos, as I mentioned it before, is one of the most important and significant archaeological sites of ancient Greece. It is located close to Heraklion on the island of Crete, as I mentioned it before, and it served as a ceremonial and political center of the Minoan civilization. The very Minoan civilization, which flourished from around 1900 to 1400 BCE. When we entered there, we can see a couple of peacocks there, and this is one of the peacocks we saw them. You can see it sitting there. Beautiful, it looks like a paradise there. The location is just south of modern Heraklion, Crete, Greece, near the Kairos River and surrounded by fertile land. I'm going to show you this. Please watch this video. You hear the peacocks on the back in the background. And also other birds. Here is the entry when you enter the Palace of Knossos. You can have a glimpse into this palace when you enter. And here I'm going to show you more of this. Please take a look at here. Surrounded by many trees. So let us move on. So as far as architecture is concerned, it is not a temple, as I mentioned it before, in the traditional Greek sense, but a multi-storied complex, sprawling multi-storied complex. Covered over 20,000 square meters, so it's a large area. Featured over 1,000 rooms, can you imagine? And these include storage rooms, workshops, living quarters, religious sanctuaries, and a central courtyard used for ceremonies and gatherings. You can see and take a look at that. So the design and innovations, we have advanced drainage and plumbing system, or we have advanced, drainage and plumbing systems. We have light wells and ventilation shafts. We have highly sophisticated frescoes, including the famous bull leaping fresco. I'm going to show it to you. And the use of vibrant colors and naturalistic themes and topics in art. As far as religious significance is concerned, Knossos Palace is home to numerous shrines and sacred spaces, including the tripartite shrine. It is dedicated to a mother goddess or fertility goddess, as evidenced by figurines and frescoes. Bulls were sacred, the myth of the Minotaur and the labyrinth likely stem from this site, Knossos Temple. So you can take a look at it here again. So, as far as historical context is concerned, it was built around 1900 BCE, and in the course of history was destroyed and rebuilt several times. It reached its peak around 1700 and 1400 BCE, destroyed around 1450 BCE, possibly due to earthquakes and invasion by Mycenaeans and volcanic eruption at Terra, Santorini. Then we have a rediscovery and excavation, rediscovered in the late 19th century, excavated extensively by Arthur Evans, after a Greek archaeologist. I'm going to talk about him, beginning in 1900, but Evans was very controversial. Evans controversially reconstructed, unfortunately I have to say, parts of the site using concrete, sparking debates among archaeologists. He shouldn't have done that, actually, in my opinion. His restoration was based partly on conjecture, making it part archaeological site, part modern interpretation, but only part of the temple or the palace, not everywhere. Right? So here is the Palace of Knossos. We have West Court, we have couloirs, we have a West Porch, we have processional causeway, right? We have South House, we have South Propylaeum, we have West Magazines, number 7. Number 8, we have Throne Room. Number 9, we have Tripartite Shrine. Number 10, we have Central Court. Number 11, we have copy of the Prince of the Lilies fresco. Number 12, we have Grand Staircase. Number 13, we have Shrine of the Double Axis. Double axis, you remember, I've shown it already in this. You find many double axes. They were excavated also here. Now they're in the archaeological, Heraklion Archaeological Museum. So Hall of the Double Axis, then Lapidaries, Workshop, and Schoolroom. We have number 17, Magazine of the Giant Pito. We have number 18, Corridor of the Draft Board. We have number 19, North Entrance, and number 20, Customs House, 21, North Lustral Basin, and 22, Theater. So you see, these are all these one. For example, if you come, for example, and take a look at that, 22 is the theater here. So you have a good map here, so you can take a look at that. When you go there, some areas are closed, but if you're an archaeologist or historian, you can make an appointment to go and see those sites. Myth and legends, closely linked to Greek myth, King Minos, Daedalus and Icarus, Theseus and Minotaur. The concept of the labyrinth likely arose from the complex and confusing layout of the palace. So the Palace of Knossos. The Palace of Knossos is the largest of all palaces in Crete. So it's the largest palace in Crete. Surrounded by an extensive city, the palace was built on the low Kepala hill at the confluence of two streams, The choice of location and the subsequent growth of the settlement are connected with its proximity or closeness to the sea and the fertile earth of the region. So the site was first settled in Neolithic period, means 6,700 to 3,200 BCE. Very long time. As early as this, there was an extensive settlement. The first palace was built around 1900 BCE, Old Palace period, we call it. From the first parts that are preserved, it seems that the basic plan was formed at that time. But, however, it was destroyed around 1700 BCE, and the new palace was built in its place, New Palace period, with the exception of some later addition. Arthur Evans uncovered and restored its ruins. The palace is comprised of different buildings, as I mentioned it before, that grew up around the central court. There was entrances at all the main points, the most formal being the southwest and north. The west wing includes shrines, official halls, and extensive storage areas. The east wing, the royal apartments and workshops. There were storerooms and other areas to the north and south. The palace displays a great variety of architectural features. So what are these? Stories and flat roofs on different levels, indented or protruding facades, embellishment of stone horns and of alternating colors, etc. A great variety of materials was used: slabs of green, schist for floors, wooden columns, gypsum slabs on walls, floors and elsewhere. Polychrome plaster and wall paintings contributed to room decoration. The palace appears to have been the center of political, economic, and religious authority. The main excavator, Evans, attempted to interpret the function of the spaces in the palace and gave them names that reflected their use according to his opinion, based on conjecture, as I mentioned it before. This was based on the Finn's mythological tradition and analogies with ancient civilization and his own era. These names are still current: Queen's Megaron Hall, Piano Nobile, upper floor, throne room, even though continuing research has put forward different views as to the function of some areas. The Palace of Knossos continued to be used after 1450 BCE, when the rest of the Cretan palaces were destroyed. Most experts believe that new inhabitants from the Mycenaean Greek mainland were installed in the palace due to the discovery of Mycenaean archive of Linear B script. When the palace ceased to function remains uncertain. At any rate, after 1380 BCE, a large part of its former glory had been lost. Here you can take a look at a drawing of a seal impression depicting a religious scene from the archives of the Palace of Knossos. Beautiful. Many of these artifacts they found, like this stone, you can take a look at that, right? Libation vessel in the shape of a bull's hat. I'm going to post it as well later, a video of that from the in Heraklion Archaeological Museum. They were excavated here. So the history of the excavations: the discovery of the west wing of the Palace of Knossos was by Minos Karinos in 1878, created intense interest until 1898, when a law on archaeology was drafted by the newly founded Cretan state. This created the right conditions for systematic excavations by Evans. His most important colleagues were the archaeologist Mackenzie, known for his excavations in Melos. He undertook to keep the excavation journal, and the architect Fife of the British School of Archaeology. Other collaborators included the architects Dahl, F.G. Newton, and Pierre de Jong, the artist Guilleron, Père et Fille, and the archaeologists father and son, Hogarth and Weiss, and Forsyth and Pendlebury. Evans and his staff were originally based in the house of a Turkish bey near the palace, while the Villa Ariadne was built in 1906 according to Dahl's plans. After the Second World War, excavations were continued by the British School of Archaeology, while additional research and mainly large-scale restoration work was undertaken under the directors of Heraklion Museum, Platon and Alexio. So you can take a look at this here. This was what I write for you. And you can see a video here. Look how beautiful it is. Really nice. Yeah, this is really beautiful area. So let us move on. This is also, you can see different parts of the palace. Yeah. So in Greek mythology, King Minos dwelt in a palace at Knossos. He had Daedalus construct a labyrinth, a very large maze in which to retain his son, the Minotaur. Daedalus also built the dancing floor for Queen Ariadne. The name Knossos was subsequently adopted by Arthur Evans. So let us take a look at this one. So very nice here. Really beautiful area. One can imagine what it should have looked like in its glory. Okay. Let's move on. So West Court or West facade, the court is crossed by the so-called processional causeways, which stand out from the rest of the paving and intersect each other. One idea is that the procession paraded along them during ceremonies. The west facade of the palace rises up along one side. The facade is constructed of massive gypsum blocks set on a plinth. The facade is indented or protrudes corresponding to the interior arrangement of space. In front of the west facade, two bases can be seen, thought to belong to the stone-built altars. Settlement remains of the Neolithic 6700 to 3200 BCE and the pre-Palatial 3200 to 1900 BCE periods have been found beneath the level of the West Court. So today it is Knossos Palace is one of the most visited archaeological sites in Greece and is managed by the Greek Ministry of Culture and Sports. So I read it already for you, West Court, West Facade. So you can take a look at it here. Very nice, very beautiful. So let us move on. Then we have also Regarding writing systems, the oldest one on Crete was Cretan hieroglyphs, and this was a hieroglyphic writing system used on Crete during the early Bronze Age in the Minoan era. They predate Linear A by approximately, they precede them by approximately a century, although both systems were used at the same time for much of their history. As of 2025, Cretan hieroglyphs, here looking at it, remain undeciphered, despite of all scientific tries and endeavors. Linear A, look at this, is a writing system used by the Minoans of Crete from approximately 1800 BCE to 1450 BCE. It served as the primary script for palace and religious inscriptions within the Minoan civilization. Linear A later gave rise to Linear B, a script adopted by the Mycenaeans to write an early form of Greek. Take a look at this here. So we can walk more. I mean, these writing systems and examples on cups, seals, and other artifacts you can see in Heraklion Archaeological Museum, excavated from this site and other sites in Crete. So let us move on. So this is also, again, this side of the temple, we're getting closer to the palace main building. So let us see this one. This is the peacock, one of the peacock there looking. It's really cute. Let me see if it, yeah. I'm not so sure if it makes any sound, but sometimes it does. Maybe look at here. Here you can see its tail. So, really beautiful. What a beautiful bird. So, then we have west porch, corridor of the procession. In front of you, you can see here the west porch. I'm going to show it to you. It was a roofed area opening into the court, supported by one column, of which part of the gypsum base remains. The east wall was decorated with a bull leaping fresco. There was a small guard room. I'm going to show you this fresco. The porch was closed off by a double door, and from here began the long corridor of the procession. The corridor is so named from the wall painting decorating its east wall and depicting a procession of people holding gifts and musicians. The floor was very fine. The corridor of the procession, according to Evans, initially went to the south propylaeum and continued on to the central court. So let us then see, show it to you. You can see it here at the end. So I try to make sure to film it from different parts and areas so you can have a good idea of what it is, or it was. And here we continue from here. So we will continue here. So you can see also other areas here again. Of the palace. Really nice. So looks like an animal here. And here, take a look at here. Trying to show you different parts of this palace. So you can see that we are getting closer to the main building. The restoration is, I think he did it there, that area. Let's go now see. You saw Nima walking. Really nice. Let's take a look at also from this side. So we get closer to the roof area. And I'm going to show you also this hallway. So here, these are these paintings. There's also video on them. So I show you again a video. So let us move. Pottery, beautiful pottery here.